Okay, welcome. I decided to do a part two of how to add widgets to your post. Basically, going into depth about the different widgets that there are and how to really make your post super dynamic. Um, Again, when you're thinking about WordPress, it is not like creating a Microsoft Word document. If you think about it in terms of a grid, you'll be able to place your your content in different little containers, and adding those containers can really make your post really kind of pop. So let's get into it. Okay, once again, we are going to markhamlibrary.org/wp-admin, and you are logging in. This is our dashboard as usual. And I'm going to continue to edit this test post, right? And under mine, I am going to click here, edit. Again, you won't be able to edit anybody else's as an author. You'll be able to only edit your own posts. Okay. So last time I talked about how to add a row layout. And the row layout it does a bunch of different things. So it will allow you to add columns. So essentially making your post into this grid um, pattern. So let's say, for example, that you don't want to have this sort of grid pattern, or maybe you want to change it. If you select the row layout widget or block, you have on the side here, this little sidebar, you have different attributes that you can add to it. And the thing about adding stuff like this is that it is 100% customizable, which is really nice. So let's say, for example, you wanted to um, create instead of 50-50, which is what we had before, you wanted to maybe make the picture a little bit bigger. Here you have the different layout styles. You can even collapse the rows, the columns into rows. Okay, and you have different gutter sizes and gutter widths, stuff like that. The thing that I want to show you is that there are menus up here where you can click, for example, the style. And in the style, you have two background images. You have a background image and you have a background overlay. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about the background overlay. The overlay is sort of you can add an image to the background but make it a little bit faded, right? So for example, here you can play with the overlay opacity. Let me just add an image to the background here just to show you. Okay, so let's see. No, I don't want to upload. I'm sorry. I want to choose from the media library. And this is kind of a cool background. It's got sciencey stuff. And I'm going to select it. Okay. Now, so here's what happened. I added this image, which is 100% in terms of opacity. But because I have an overlay opacity up here of 30, you'll notice that it's a little bit faded. And that's what I want. I want it to just be a small background just so that it pops out the section here. Okay. The other thing that I can do is using the attributes up here, I can change the width of the content, right? So I can make it wider or not. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as is. I can align it. I can add different sections to it. I can copy and paste the styles. All of these things I can do within the big row layout widget, okay, or block. They call it blocks. Okay, so that's it for that one. Let's see if we wanted to go, for example, to advanced. Now here, what you can do is you can add padding. So where it says padding here is padding. So from the edge of the block to the actual content, how much padding do you want? You can make it big, medium, large, extra large, 2x. Okay, so you can make it like that. And let's say I wanted to add this one, 2x as well. This way, it adds a little bit more space to the top and to the bottom of your content here. Okay. Uh, um, a margin does something similar, but if you can think of the margin, the padding as everything within the bounds, and the margin everything outside of the bounds. Um, that's what that controls. So, for example, the distance between that widget or that block to this one here is dictated by the margin. Okay, I like the margin the way it is. I'm not going to change it, but that's what that's what the difference is. You can change the different structure settings. Honestly, I don't really mess with any of the more complicated stuff. In terms of visibility, you can actually hide it on different devices. So let's say, for example, you go on to your desktop, you'll be able to see it. But let's say you don't want it, it doesn't really, it kind of conflicts with the tablets, right? You can actually hide it on tablets so it doesn't conflict as much. And that way your website loads faster and is a little bit more streamlined when it comes to smaller devices. Okay. You can also hide it from logged in or logged out users. You don't really have to worry about that part. You have custom CSS if you have anything. If you want, are brave enough to go in and learn how to write a CSS. And of course, you've got your advanced, which again, I don't really mess with because that's kind of adding code where to edit the post itself. Okay. So that is how you can edit and really make your images pop and really edit your content within the post. So it's not just a flat, you know, um, a flat image or a flat text. Okay. Once you are done with everything, make sure that you hit the update button. And then under the post menu, you make sure that you have your categories and featured image and everything the way it's supposed to. And if all of that is good, then you hit your update button. And if we test it, we can actually view the post directly from here. Oops, no, not that one. Where'd it go? Well, let's take a look. Markham Library. Right there. And if we go into the board, you see it under 2023 because that is the category that we have assigned to it. So you have your featured image, and with underneath your featured image, you have your really dynamic post. Okay, and it all fits within the container as we had described from before. And that's it. That's how you can add really dynamic widgets and blocks to your post.